Our ceremony this morning marks the change of command for the 90th Missile Wing. This year is the 152nd anniversary of Francis E. Warren Air Force Base, currently one of 3 strategic missile bases in the United States. F.E. Warren has the distinction of evolving from Fort D.A. Russell, which was a noteworthy frontier infantry, cavalry, and training post. The fort was established in 1867, the same year as the city of Cheyenne. In 1949, the fort became Francis E. Warren Air Force Base, continuing to enjoy strong ties with the men and women of Cheyenne. On July 1, 1963, F.E. Warren became the largest strategic missile unit in the free world, responsible for 200 Minuteman I missiles, located in a 12,600 square mile area within the states of Wyoming, Colorado, and Nebraska. In 1975, the Minuteman I sites were converted to Minuteman III, and in 1986, F.E. Warren became the only base in the nation to deploy Peacekeeper missiles. When 20th Air Force relocated its headquarters to Warren on October 1, 1993, the leaders of the nation's strategic missile units found Cheyenne as supportive of our military mission as they had been since the founding of Fort D.A. Russell. Today, during the 152nd anniversary of the founding of both the base and the city of Cheyenne, F.E. Warren Air Force Base stands responsible for 150 Minuteman III missiles, part of the most powerful combat force in the world. We cannot imagine marking our anniversary without recognizing the important role the Cheyenne community has played in our history and continues to play today. From early days supporting our soldiers and our airmen to today's Cheyenne Frontier Days, from civic leaders and business owners to those who thank us for our service every time we meet them downtown. The 31st of May, 2019 marks another date to remember. Today, following in the tradition of centuries-old ceremony, Colonel Stacy Joe Huser will relinquish command to Colonel Peter M. Bonetti. Colonel Huser assumed command of the 90th Missile Wing in June 2017. Today, Colonel Bonetti will assume command. The focal point of today's ceremony will be the passing of the unit flag. Unit colors have a long tradition in the profession of arms. Roman legions carried them to identify units, and kings carried them to offer a rallying point in battle. The necessity to keep the flag flying has been a prime duty of warriors throughout history, owning to its inspiring effect. The commander that holds the unit's colors holds the responsibility to keep that symbol flying as a rallying point for the unit. During the first passing of the flag, Colonel Huser offers the flag to Major General Fred Stoss, an act symbolizing the end of her command of the 90th Missile Wing. During the second passing of the flag, Colonel Bonetti accepts the flag from Major General Stoss, symbolizing the beginning of his new responsibilities. Today, we are also marking this change of command with a parade ceremony. A parade such as the one today has many purposes. It promotes teamwork and pride in the Air Force organization. It displays the proficiency and state of training of the troops, and it promotes public morale by symbolically displaying the strength and unity of the nation. Major General Fred B. Stoss will officiate this morning's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are honored to have the following official party members and distinguished guests with us today. The spouse of the presiding officer, Mrs. Laura Stoss. The spouse of the outgoing commander, Mr. Tim O'Hara. The spouse of the incoming commander, Lieutenant Colonel retired Natalie Bonetti. The Governor of Wyoming, the Honorable Mark Gordon, and First Lady Jenny Gordon. The Secretary of State, the Honorable Ed Buchanan. Additionally, we would like to welcome all commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, Wyoming state senators and representatives, community leaders, and friends and family who have taken time out of their busy day to share in this special occasion. Commander of Airmen, receive the report. A distinctive feature of military ceremonies is the formal presentation of the command. Major General Stoss will now receive the presentation of command. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and render the proper military courtesies for the playing of ruffles and flourishes.
General, I present the command. Present the command. In your group, present arms. Present.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I invite you to join me for a word of prayer.
Lord, today we come to celebrate the awesome responsibility, joy, and honor of leadership. Today, we thank you for two leaders who serve with gladness in their hearts, knowing they are serving airmen and their families, working in the greatest Air Force on the planet. Today, we take time to thank Colonel Stacy Huser and Tim for the many lives that they have impacted while leading airmen and their families serving the mighty 90. We thank you that Colonel Huser truly lived out the words an author once penned, "Celebrate with those who celebrate and mourn with those who mourn." For countless times, we have watched Colonel Huser have a genuine joy when various members of F.E. Warren have brought home awards. We have also witnessed her great compassion for members of the wing when she has grieved with those who have grieved. As the Huser family departs F.E. Warren, we ask that you be with Colonel Huser, Tim, Sylvia, and Joey as they head to Offutt Air Force Base to reconnect with friends, make new friends, and learn new things. It is with great joy that the mighty 90 welcomes back Colonel Bonetti and Miss Natalie and their family. We thank you for this leader who has been sent this way to lead us for such a time as this. We thank you for the knowledge and the experience that he has acquired and utilized as it pertains to defending this great country with some of the most powerful weapons on the planet. We ask, Lord, that you will direct his steps with clarity. When clarity is needed, we pray that you will help him recall knowledge that he has. When the need is energy, we ask that you provide him with stamina. When rest is needed, we ask that you provide with peace of mind. Be with Colonel Bonetti and his family as they provide servant leadership to the phenomenal airmen and their families of the 90th Missile Wing. We pray all these things in the name above all names. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Holmes, Technical Sergeant Josue Diaz, and Staff Sergeant Elisha Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I am honored to introduce the presiding officer for today's ceremony, the Commander of 20th Air Force, Major General Fred Stoss.
Wow, what a great day. There couldn't be a more beautiful day for this very important change of command. It's just absolutely amazing. Governor, First Lady, thank you so much again. It's just really neat to becoming friends with you and just embracing this awesome legacy that we have of civil-military relations, especially here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. We have the state senators, representatives, see Dale and Patrick over there. So it's just really, really special having this very tight community here. You know, it really goes all the way back to 1867. So as the Transcontinental Railroad came in, first came the cavalry to protect the railroads, and the city of Cheyenne sprang up at the exact same time. And that same year became the daddy of them all. Cheyenne Frontier Days is what it's called today, but that began at the same era. And while the tight civil-military relations are here all the time, it's extremely visible when we do Cheyenne Frontier Days, and we're all very excited to be part of that as well. Now, I know we have our incoming commander, Pete, and your daughters didn't make it in, and so. But I understand your dad, Ed, is on here. And so who has the video camera? Somebody's taping this for Ed. So awesome. So Ed, well done. Wish you could be here, but they're doing a live stream right now on Facebook, and just wanted to say hi to Pete's dad, Ed. Those in the formation really stand at ease. I mean it. I'll be talking for a few hours, so that's just better that you just take a knee if you need to. We always lose a few. I've never understood the phenomena, but please take care of yourselves and shake it off. Well, let's talk a little bit about legacy and why we are here. And so there are important reasons why we are here. F.E. Warren Air Force Base and the 90th Missile Wing doesn't exist just for it to be here. There are very valid reasons and very relevant reasons why they're here. Of course, a legacy of the 90th Missile Wing goes back to the 90th Bomb Group, flying the mighty B-24 that defeated tyranny in the Southwest Pacific during World War II. Later converted to the B-29 line of jets and flew in Korea, ultimately inactivating in 1960. So around the same time frame is when the ICBM era came to Cheyenne, Wyoming. And so in 1958, stand-up of the first strategic missile wing occurred here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, here at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. the incredible Atlas D missile. The first wing of the Atlas D missiles came on alert here in 1959. And then in 1963, Minuteman arrived to Cheyenne, Wyoming. Ultimately, we had 200 Minuteman online, then later 150 Minuteman and 50 Peacekeepers, and then today we have this amazing Minuteman weapon system still standing the watch. So why are we here? We are here to be feared and respected. Our allies and our friends respect the capabilities that this wing offers. Our enemies fear it. That's why we're here. You see, the ICBM plays a very special mission. The submarine leg of our triad is survivable. The bomber leg of our nuclear triad is flexible. The ICBMs are responsive and stabilizing. So here's how it works. The adversaries know our ICBMs are very accurate and very powerful, and they observe our test launches that we do every year. They know to fear it. They also know if they're going to do a nuclear attack on the United States, our friends or allies, they're going to have to take on Minuteman because they know the power of Minuteman. But here's the hook. If you take on Minuteman, you have to be all in. The attack on the Minuteman fields will be clear and unambiguous. There will be no mistake who's attacking us. Furthermore, we're very hard. Our sites are reinforced with steel and concrete, and our 495 aim points across the 3 missile fields, which includes the 90th Missile Wing. We have these 495 aim points that is going to force a cost-imposing strategy on the adversary. They're going to have to use more than one nuclear weapon for each one of our sites. But here's the real hook, that even if they do that, we're the most responsive leg of the triad. And on orders of the President of the United States, we can launch our entire force before the first enemy warheads arrives, and so they will still eat the attack of Minuteman III, even though they tried to destroy it. So what should the adversary do? Our submarines are survivable. Our bombers are flexible. Our ICBMs are stabilizing and responsive. What should the adversary do? Don't do it. It's simple as that. During the Cold War, before we'd go on alert, I used to read 3 words and a comma. Those 3 words were "not today, comrade." That's why we do this mission. That's why we did it during the Cold War. That's why we do it today. And that's why the world needs us today. So now on to our amazing commanders. So I've known Stacy, Joe, and Tim going back to 2003, and so they were just wowing us back then when Stacy was the captain. Just been quite frankly amazing working with her all these years. You might want to know that their daughters, Sylvia and Joey, aren't here today. Turns out they have important things going on at school. I just think Stacy and Tim are hardcore. I mean, why wouldn't they allow their kid to get out of school and watch a nice ceremony? But they're mean, and they make their daughters go to school. Stacy has so many attributes. First off, she's just so inspirational, right? Those of us that know her so well, she's able to take a group of people and motivate them in ways I've never seen before. People want to be near Stacy. People want to be inspired, and that's why they come to her. It's a trait I don't have myself, and so that's why I'm very envious of watching Stacy. Stacy is the epitome of compassionate leadership, and so she cares for her airmen, her civilian employees, and their families like no other. And so that has made Stacy and Tim, quite frankly, really stand out and be very remarkable. Stacy breeds innovation. There are so many innovative projects that were kickstarted here at F.E. Warren, in some cases that are spread across the whole of the U.S. Air Force. We have the brass to bucks, where spent ammunition rounds are being recycled, and it's saving the Air Force $6.2 million. And ladies and gentlemen, that initiative started here. Del Steenbergen and team are working the Enhanced Use Lease project, and so that's going on famously well. Stacy and her team have started a restricted area badge program where it's going to save thousands and thousands upon man hours on how we process our people to and from sites. And of course our Blue Unmanned Aerial Systems program, which is just cutting edge and a pathfinder for the entire command and for the Air Force. But most of all, Stacy's a great leader. Her team knows it, her leaders know it. That's why they love her so much. And Stacy, that's why I love you so much. But it doesn't stop there. We got Tim. It's a package deal. And so Tim is the leadership behind the spouses, and without our spouses, we wouldn't be the powerful Air Force that we are. And Tim, Laura tells me all the time how well you were leading the spouses and just doing phenomenal work. In fact, Stacy and Tim as a command team were so famous that General Rand had them mentor a squadron command course and their spouses last year, and it was the best ever. And while I wasn't there, I understood Tim got a hug, if not a kiss, from everybody who was attending because he was so well loved. And anyways, Stacy and Tim, your legacy will live on for a long, long time. You have touched literally thousands and thousands of airmen and families, and you've made us the amazing Air Force that we are. So, anyways, thank you, Stacy and Tim. But while it's hard to leave with knowing that Stacy and Tim just did so well here, but it is time for a transition, and we have a great team that's going to replace them. And so we have Pete Bonetti and Natalie, and so Natalie's no stranger to this area. So Natalie has been assigned here when she was active duty, and so she knows how wonderful the base is, and the airmen, of course, and of course our local community. Of course, Pete's daughters aren't here either, but thankfully Ed has made it by, and via Facebook. And so, anyways, Ed, thank you again. When you look at Pete's record, he simply put has a pedigree for this assignment. Pete has been there, done that. So he enlisted in our Air Force in 1988, and then commissioned in our Air Force in 1995. Went up to Minot, and Minot is a place of extremes, and he excelled up there in that extreme area with the extreme mission and of course the extreme weather. Pete excelled to ultimately become the senior crew commander, which at the time was the epitome of a missile crew member. Pete then went on to be a distinguished graduate at Squadron Officer School, and was part of the prestigious Air Force program that is called the Air Force Interns. And that's where Pete went another area that is kind of a niche area that we have too few airmen that are experts in, but he got into programming. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, that you can have a lot of ideas, but if you don't have money and you don't know how to articulate that story to get the money, it's just a fantasy. So Pete went back and forth between missiles and programming and requirements, and that's just going to be a magical touch as Pete moves on. So from there, went to space, and ultimately that's where I met him, I believe, Pete, for the first time. He was the aide-de-camp for Generals Chilton and Kaler, and so that's where Pete and I crossed paths about a little over 10 years ago. Ultimately commanding the same squadron I commanded, the 10th Missile Squadron. And Pete, you probably know that General Lord also commanded that squadron, and he once told me that only the best command the 10th. Not the case with me, but certainly the case with him and with you. So it's just awesome to see that you had that command too. Went back to space and did requirements at Headquarters Air Force, and then he was the division chief for strategic capabilities back in the programming world for AFRICOM. And then most recently, as most of you know, he was the vice wing commander at the 341st Missile Wing up in Great Falls, Montana, and just did a great job there. Well, the selection for wing command is probably, I'm not even going to say probably, it is the most screened and careful process that we do in the Air Force. It is never a dartboard with a bunch of faces on the board where we just throw a dart and see who it hits, and they become a wing commander. People are developed over many, many years for this job, and Pete is now at that point. So as Stacy Joe rotates out and goes to U.S. Stratcom to become the Commander Action Group Director, excuse me, I foresee stars falling on Stacy's shoulders in about a year from now. And then years after that, I see many stars falling on Stacy's shoulders. Well, Pete is from the same pedigree. And so I see Pete graduating as the wing commander and moving very much in the same direction. So anyways, an honor to see all of you. Have we lost anybody out there yet? No, good, excellent. So let's press on with the ceremony. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Legion of Merit to Colonel Stacy Joe Huser. Attention to orders. Colonel Stacy J. Huser distinguished herself by exceptionally meritorious conduct and the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 90th Missile Wing, Francis E. Warren Air Force Base, Wyoming, from 23 June 2017 to 31 May 2019. During this period, Colonel Huser's dynamic leadership propelled the wing to award wins, unequaled combat readiness, and unsurpassed nuclear operations. Her exceptional leadership guaranteed the nation's strategic deterrent by overseeing 5 groups and 4,000 airmen, supporting 15 Minuteman III launch control centers and 150 intercontinental ballistic missiles deployed over a 9,600 square mile tri-state area. Colonel Huser's unwavering inspiration and dedication unified team efforts across her 5 groups, guaranteeing the safe, secure, and effective execution of nuclear convoys, launch facility and control center code changes, and a $2.65 million simulated electronic launch, 3 $22 million operational test launches, and 2 Combatant Command Global Thunder exercises. Additionally, Colonel Huser's strategic vision enabled a wing-wide focus on integrated scheduling, increasing mission effectiveness and improving fleet health of the Minuteman III, a significant factor in the wing's 2017 Blackburn Trophy win as the best intercontinental ballistic missile maintenance group. Furthermore, Colonel Huser seamlessly integrated 2 new security forces squadrons, increasing the lethality of the wing and Air Force defenders. The Mighty 90 also demonstrated superior performance during the 2019 Nuclear Surety Inspection, garnering 23 superior teams and 14 superior performers. An articulate advocate of nuclear deterrence, Colonel Huser fostered transparency and instilled confidence by perfectly executing several senior leader visits, to include Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Air Force, Commander of United States Strategic Command, and Commander of Air Force Global Strike Command. The superior initiative, outstanding leadership, and personal endeavor displayed by Colonel Huser reflect great credit upon herself and United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The commander of the 90th Missile Wing, Colonel Stacy Joe Huser.
Governor Gordon, and Jenny, thank you both for being here, and Secretary Buchanan, thank you for being here. You honor us with your presence. Dale and Patrick, always good to see both of you. General Porter, sir, thank you. I always got to give a shout out to my ladies every time I see them. Diane, Carmen, Laura, Martha, Rachel, Laurel, and Desiree, thank you. And thank you and a special welcome to the friends and family of Colonel Bonetti and Natalie. It's very special that you all were able to be here. General Stas and Laura, it's been an honor serving with you in 20th Air Force. We have amazing airmen who are filled with pride, empowered, and inspired, and the 2 of you have helped to foster that in our airmen. So thank you. And sir, thank you personally for your guidance and support, and I know that that will not end when this day is over. So thank you, sir. I always fail to thank my spouse, Tim. So thanks, Tim. And even though our 2 she-devils are not here, because yes, I did make them go to school despite their protests, they wanted me to thank them. So thanks, Sylvia and Joey, even though you didn't do anything. To Colonel Bonetti and Natalie, you both are the exact right team that this wing needs. I truly believe that everything worked out for a reason and that you are the leader that we need here at the 90th. You both are going to take this wing to the next level, and it's going to be wonderful. And I look forward to watching you do that from afar. So congratulations. Finally, to the men and women of the 90th Missile Wing and your beautiful families, it's been a real honor. You are incredible leaders and you're selfless airmen. So thank you very much for letting Tim and I be a small part of your lives. Thank you.
Colonel Huser will now receive her final salute from the 90th Missile Wing.
Attention! Tribute groups, present arms! Ma'am, I present the command. Tribute groups, on us!
Colonel Huser will now relinquish command of the 90th Missile Wing to Colonel Bonetti.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Special Order Number G-17-07. Headquarters 20th Air Force, 31 May 2019. By direction of the President, Colonel Stacy Joe Huser is relieved of command of the 90th Missile Wing. Effective 31 May 2019. Colonel Peter Bonetti is directed to assume command of the 90th Missile Wing. Effective 31 May 2019.
Sir, I assume command.
Colonel Bonetti will now receive his first salute from the 90th Missile Wing.
Tribute groups, present arms! Sir, I present the command. Tribute groups, order arms! Parachute groups, at ease!
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The commander of the 90th Missile Wing, Colonel Bonetti.
Wow, just wow. This is an amazing ceremony, and I've got to tell you, I'm incredibly excited to be here. Natalie and I are so humbled to be part of the 90th Missile Wing on this day. General Stas, thank you for officiating today, and more than that, thank you for having the faith and confidence in Natalie and I to rule this wing as the wing commander and to help and to nourish all of the airmen that we have here. Colonel Huser, thank you and the whole team for this warm welcome and doing everything possible to set me up for success. Governor Gordon, Mrs. Gordon, Secretary Buchanan, Wyoming state senators and representatives, as well as the many civic leaders we have in attendance today. I got to tell you, I'm completely amazed at the strong support that all of you have already shown to this wing while we've been here. It's an incredible relationship, and I hope to foster even more strong relationships in the future. I truly look forward to working with each of you in the near future. General Porter, your presence means volumes today. Thank you so much for coming. Commanders, chiefs, 90th Missile Wing teammates, I am very excited to be here. I can't wait to meet each of you as we continue to make this wing even more incredible than it has been. And my family, there are so many familiar faces in the audience, so many people that we've known over the years, so many people that have become part of our families. Dave, Dalton, it's great to see you guys. I'm incredibly honored you'd be here today, and thank you for sharing this day with us. Erica and Jen, thanks for making this long journey here with a family during this high point in our lives. Crescent, thanks for being here, showing the support, and actually taking the long journey with Natalie here and back. Really do appreciate that. And Natalie, my wife, you are my constant, my unwavering support. Thank you for your love and support on the journey here and the journey ahead. I love you so very much. Thank you for everything. So I'm sorry, I get a little sentimental when I talk about my family because it always reminds me I'm a very, very fortunate man. But in a way, every person here in the Mighty 90 is. We all have loved ones, close friends, our bedrocks that have formed our foundations of our personalities and in fact our whole being. But the military has shown me that the family isn't just blood. At every location, we gain more family, more people who accept us as we are, and more people who depend on us. Over the past 3 decades, I've had the privilege to meet and add more and more people to our flock. And I know this team here at the Mighty 90 gets it. I know you care, and I know there's time when you wonder if your commitment is understood and appreciated. I'm here to tell you it is. I can't express my respect enough for all the dedication that you and your families have given to this nation. In our business, that dedication is our sacrifice, our price. The price we here at the 90th pay, and in fact, at every nuclear missile base, that's the price they pay. We are charged with ensuring the world's most powerful, most lethal weapons are secure, sure, and ready every minute of every day. And every person here in this wing is here for that very reason. This requires deliberate planning and actions. It requires a commitment to each other, to safety, and to excellence. And it requires every person's focus on the task at hand. And you, the men and women of the Mighty 90, you are magnificent at that. When the news of command opportunities broke and I found out I was coming here, Colonel Dave Miller and I had a pretty awesome conversation. He reminded me that F.E. Warren is known as the crown jewel of the nuclear missile community. For those of you that know Colonel Miller, that's very high praise. That's incredibly high praise. But I can't say that we don't share those same qualities of excellence with our brothers and sisters in Montana and North Dakota. I know for a fact that every wing charged with this particular mission gets it and understands what's expected of them. But I understand what Dave meant. Our reputation as the premier warfighter has a long and storied history. From muskets to missiles is a real thing. The men and women of this base have been answering our nation's call since 1867, and this wing since 1951. Your pledge to this great nation is unwavering, and your dedication is absolutely incredible. Together, this is our continued commitment to this mission, to each other, and to this nation. Together, we will continue to be the crown jewel of the nuclear missile community and prove this every day with hard work and focus. For this sacrifice, I'm eternally grateful to all of you. I couldn't be more honored or humbled to stand here today and join Team Warren and the Mighty 90 as your commander. But how about we get the ceremony going and get back to what we need to do? Please keep your focus. I'll get around and I'll make sure that I meet and greet every single one of you. And my thanks to everyone for coming today and sharing this moment with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments, the personnel of the 90th Missile Wing will pass in review. The honor of reviewing the troops has been passed from Major General Stoss, the senior officer, to Colonel Bonetti. Please join the military members of the audience when they stand and render the proper military courtesies and respect for the flag of the United States of America as it passes in front of the reviewing stand. Now passing in review, the Commander of Airmen, Colonel Brian Young. Now passing in review, the 90th Maintenance Group, commanded today by Colonel Brian Rico. Now passing in review, the 90th Munition Squadron, commanded today by Captain Jeremy Malari. Now passing in review, the 790th Maintenance Squadron, commanded today by Major Christine Hernandez. Now passing in review, the 90th Operations Group, commanded today by Lieutenant Colonel Justin McMillan. Now passing in review, the 90th Medical Support Squadron, commanded today by Major Chad Redwine. Now passing in review, the 90th Medical Group Commander, Colonel Christine Hackett. Now passing in review, the 90th Mission Support Group, commanded today by Lieutenant Colonel Raymond Spohr. Now passing in review, the 90th Civil Engineer Squadron, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Brian Lowe. Now passing in review, the 90th 4th Support Squadron, commanded by Major Isabella Ramirez. Now passing in review, the 90th Security Forces Group, commanded today by Colonel John Grimm. Now passing in review, the 90th Missile Security Forces Squadron, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Anthony McCarty. Now passing in review, the 90th Security Forces Squadron, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Nicholas Petrin. And today's state and territorial flag detail is presented by the 90th Security Forces Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song. The Air Force song will be concluded by the firing of the cannon. Please remain in place until the official party and distinguished guests have departed the parade field.